We are following breaking news. A judge has ordered the immediate unconditional release of a Georgetown University scholar arrested by ICE. A Virginia federal judge rejected the government's actions in the case of Dr. Badar Khan Suri. She ruled that Suri's First and Fifth Amendment rights were violated when he was seized by ICE agents back in March. Attorneys fighting for Dr. Suri's release spoke just a short time ago.
This is a historic moment in the sense that we heard federal judge today acknowledge very clearly from the bench how immigration laws were weaponized in this instance. And as Sophia argued and the judge agreed, here we had very clearly unstated, forget unproven, unstated allegations, and someone was held punitively, as the judge said, in under civil immigration charges for almost 60 days.
Okay, let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, great to be with you. A decisive ruling against the DOJ. What does this signal to you?
So I think we should be careful to say that it signals anything other than exactly what happened in this case. And this judge in this case was saying, yes, under immigration laws, the executive branch does have broad authority, but, and this is a big hold on, there are constitutional limitations. And we've seen this particular issue play out in a number of immigration cases where the administration says we have really broad authority, and those challenging the administration say, but not to use that authority in a way that violates either the First Amendment, meaning we can't target people based on the content of their speech without more, and the Fifth Amendment, meaning due process. We don't get to pick people off of the street and put them in detention centers without some sort of notice and opportunity to be heard. So we are fighting a lot right now between the power of the executive under immigration law and the limits on that power based on, again, the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, speech and due process.
Okay, I want to lean into that a little bit here, Jessica, because there are other cases that are not exactly the same, but are very similar of people that are still being held by ICE. Will this decision have any impact on those cases moving forward?
So I do think that we need to be careful in the sense that every judge is going to look at each case separately. And we know that different judges, just like any other human being, have a different view of cases. Now, having said, with all of those caveats, I think what we are seeing, if we want to try and glean some pattern, is that there are judges who are looking at the executive's actions and saying there are constitutional limitations. There are concerns about targeting people based on their speech. There are concerns about not giving people the process to which they are due. Do I think this now signals a psychological shift and judges will start ruling this way throughout the country? I just think we need to take each case as it comes.
Okay, well, speaking about another case that is similar but also very different, the arrest of a Wisconsin judge that brought protesters to the streets of Milwaukee. Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan has been indicted on obstruction charges for allegedly helping a man evade ICE authorities. Tomorrow, she's set to appear in court. Can you remind our viewers the circumstances of this case and what's expected to happen at that hearing?
Sure. So the circumstances, essentially, as you said, there was an individual in her courtroom who there was a misdemeanor charge that was being discussed. ICE agents showed up. She, and we're going based on reporting, I think said, let's move to, and then ask the parties, including this individual and his attorneys, to move to kind of a separate area in the courtroom where court staff can be. She also said to ICE agents something like, you need to speak with the Chief Justice, the Chief Judge. At that point, this individual leaves, tries to flee ICE. And the question is whether or not she did what she has the power to do as a judge, saying, I'm in control of my courtroom, we're pausing proceedings, go into the separate room, or if she was actively undermining the ICE agents' authority and trying to thwart their ability to proceed. And if she said, basically, go run out the back door. I know that sounds like a lengthy explanation, but I do think that this case is going to hinge on the specifics of the facts. The hearing tomorrow will be an arraignment. The charges will be read. She will respond. She will enter a plea of not guilty. There may be some scheduling issues that are discussed. I think that'll be about it.
Okay. Well, CBS News has also learned, Jessica, that federal judges nationwide are being targeted by what's known as pizza doxing. Basically, someone sending a pizza to their homes, but this is not a harmless prank. Many of them are coming with some veiled threats. What can be done in this case to protect judges?
Yeah, and I think it's worth emphasizing that this really does highlight the vulnerability of judges. Again, we've just spent a number of minutes talking about judges and the powers that they have and these high-profile rulings that they're making, and they're very controversial in some cases. Not everybody agrees with them, obviously. We know that in some of this pizza doxing, some of the pizzas have been ordered under apparently the name of a federal judge's son who was actually killed by somebody who was targeting the judge. All of which is to say these are very real threats. And obviously the Marshal Service is going to look into this. There's no perfect security system. There may be additional security for judges who are hearing particularly high profile cases. And certainly we've been here before. We've done that before. We've never been quite here before in terms of, in my view, kind of the breadth and depth of these threats.
Yeah, these are meant to be intimidating, and they are quite dangerous. Jessica Levinson, thank you so much.